Hey guys, Crystal Thompson here for Simon. Today I have a really cool idea for pattern paper, and we're using the pattern papers from the May 2021 card kit. And in this video I'm creating two cards, of course, as I mentioned, with the pattern paper, but we're not using any dies for these backgrounds. And again, this card kit had like 16 pages of background paper, so I thought it'd be a really cool way to utilize these. So first up, we're going to be creating an embossed background, and one of the sheets included has this beautiful like ombre rainbow. And so we're going to start out with the Sizzix Dandelion Wish embossing folder, which is also included in the kit. And I've cut that Creative Expressions Dandelion Dreams paper pack 4¼ by 5½. I ran it through my Gemini, and as you can see, it gives us a ton of dimension. And next we're going to use the dandelion die, also included in the kit, and I cut out a piece of vellum. And because this pattern paper is a little bit thinner, you can really see the embossing. And then using the Swoopy Thank You, which is actually a brand new release from Simon, I'm cutting this out of another piece of pattern paper from the same pattern paper pack, and then the outline out of white. So once we have that all ready to go, we're going to begin putting our card and sentiment together. I have that thank you, the Soupy thank you, cut out of the dandelion paper pack. And I love this idea of cutting something that has a pattern paper, because as you can see, it goes from like an ombre of a light yellow to a green. And it looks like we tried really hard, but we didn't, right? We ended up using our pattern paper. So you could totally make a ton of these thank you or whatever different dies that you wanted to use for your sentiment. Then I'm gluing them down with my Tombow adhesive, which is just a clear glue, and we're going to set that aside to dry. Next, I have a piece of Nina 110-pound cardstock, which is included in the kit, and then using the pattern paper on top of that, and then bringing in that ThermoWeb yellow gel paste, also included in the kit. And my thought here was that, you know, when you blow like a dried out dandelion, it kind of just feathers out, it blows away, and it has that yellow pollen. So I felt that this kind of looked that way, and I'm gonna use these gels to kind of represent that. And so as you can see, I'm dabbing it on. I'm kind of done smooshing it, but just dabbing it. And when I bring it in closer, you will see how it kind of looks like it's the dandelion parts falling out of that main dandelion that we have cut out from the foam, or excuse me, from the vellum. So we're going to dab, dab, dab. And actually this gel dries up really fast. We're going to bring in that thank you that I added a piece of foam adhesive onto the back, and then placing it right on the center. And I'm going to bring in some yellow translucent Nuvo drops. This is not included in the kit, but I just kind of have this over, and I didn't have any clear, so I wanted to let you know that you can use any translucent kind of clear Nuvo drops. I'm going to let that dry for a couple minutes, and then bringing back 2 pieces of foam adhesive that I kind of stacked on top of each other, and then adding that vellum dandelion, and then getting more of that ThermoWeb gel and dabbing that on to the dandelion to really kind of finish up the whole thing. And I really like the way this turned out. It would be an easy way to mass produce these cards, and again, don't need any more embellishment other than that awesome ThermoWeb gel included in the kit. Okay, so next up I have a piece together pattern paper. I'm not using a die for this. It's super easy. So let me tell you what we're using for this card. Of course, I have a piece of vellum from my stash. I have the Swoopy Thank You, which is a brand new release from Simon. And we are going to trim these beautiful thank yous out of the included Tim Holtz Copper Craft cardstock, also included in the kit. And then we have the Creative Expressions Dandelion Dreams. I'm using 2 sheets. One is really bright and colorful, kind of rainbowish. And then the second one is a bit more muted. It has tones of gray and it looks like it's crinkly. And we're going to get started on this. We're going to begin by trimming up these cardstocks. So our very bright one, and then our vellum and our background. Our background is 4¼ by 5½. Then the vellum, we're going to take 1/4 inch of each one. And then that top one's going to take another 1/4 inch of each one. And that way it layers out pretty nicely. So you're probably wondering, how are we going to do these rectangles or these square looking? And so I flipped over my pattern paper and I bring a straight edge, and I do not own a ruler. Cannot find one to save my life. So I just brought in this kind of cardboardy straight edge. I'm going to begin by doing my number 1 and then doing 2 lines, and that's going to delineate the spacing for my triangles. And so what I'm going to do, excuse me, rectangles. And so what I'm going to do is really kind of just eyeball that separation in between both. And then I'm going to number them. And the reason why I'm going to number them is going to make them easier to come up and find them. Then we're going to move on to the next one. And again, totally eyeballing it. If you have a ruler, of course, you can really get that individual spacing even closer, but it's okay. I felt that it would work. And as I continue to do these lines, as you can see, I'm kind of doing like a brick layer where I'm alternating the lines of separation here. And then last but not least, we're going to do that last little rectangle and triangle. And then I'm going to move that line just a little bit slower than that 2 and 3 line that we got going on. And we're going to bring it up to the paper trimmer and we're going to trim the whole thing. And I thought I should bring in my phone and take a picture so I know how I lined it up. And then once I lined it up, I added pieces of foam to the back. And because this paper was flipped over, I just needed to kind of turn it around, just kind of counterclockwise, so it would really follow the numbers from top to bottom. And then to start adhering, we're going to place that vellum down first onto that first layer. You can see we have it a bit matted. And then we're going to start using the corner. So we're going to start corner to corner. And this is really going to give us the spacing from the vellum part to the colored cardstock. Then we're going to place the next piece as I have it ready to go. And again, just kind of eyeballing that separation, that break in between the pieces of paper. And if you were super brave, or if you had a really good pencil, you could totally do these lines on the pattern paper already. And then if you were really good at cutting, you can just cut those face forward and not having to do them on the back. But this just kind of just doesn't allow you to place the numbers. So I kind of found that I needed to place that left corner first so I could place my center one. If not, it kind of ends up off center and then my spacing ends up all messed up. And then I ended up moving that center one a little bit further down and then that upper corner right. And so once you have all your corners lined up, it works out really nicely to be able to get all these spacings pretty much lined up and nice and clean. And I really like the way this turned out. It kind of gives you a die cut look without having to spend the money on a die cut, right? And it really allows you to use your pattern papers in a different way. Next, I have some Gansai Tambi Starry colors, and this is a beautiful palette of golds and a white gold. And I'm going to bring in my water brush, add a little bit of water, and continue to splatter these over the entire pattern paper. And then I'm going to do the same, create a nice water base with the white, and then flicker all over it. And again, I felt that this would just give it a really pretty look, and we're going to allow this to dry, and the whole thing is going to match that thank you that we had cut out of that copper craft. So I used some of that white watercolor to create some lines onto this pattern paper, and then I have that thank you that I had cut out of the copper craft, and I'm going to add a second layer of the purple cardstock that was included in the kit. And the reason why is that I wanted to lift it a bit more, and I wanted it to be a little more sturdy, especially placing it on this pattern paper, because the pattern paper is a bit flimsy. It's not as thick as your regular cardstock, and so I really needed to put some weight down on it. And then we're going to add that thank you with my Tombow adhesive, which is going to dry nice and clear, and I'm really liking this look. And then we're going to add a couple of these gorgeous drops. These are from Studio Katia and are available on the Simon store. And they're just this really pretty assortment of clear and iridescent purple gems. And using my Studio Katia jewel picker or jewel tool, whatever you want to call it, we're going to place these guys on top. And I'm going to do a variance between these clear and the iridescent colors. And the whole thing's going to come together. And then again, using some Nuvo drops to add a couple more layers of little glitter copper colors. And guys, that does it for me today. Thanks so much for joining me. We've done 2 cards using pattern paper from the May 2021 card kit from Simon. There's so much pattern paper in this kit, and the beautiful background dye that I think you're going to be able to create endless possibilities for this card kit. Be sure to stay tuned. I have another video coming up using the same card kit. We have a ton of releases for Simon, and the whole thing is super fun to create. Thank you so much again for staying tuned, and if you're new to the channel, please give it a like. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Share it if you really liked it, and do please subscribe to continue supporting my channel. We'll see you guys later. Have an amazing day.